So if I had to give this relationship a title, this particular relationship would be entitled Sleeping with the Enemy. And for anyone who has ever been in a relationship with a narcissist, and I'm going to take it a step further, if you ever lived under the same roof with a narcissist, you're going to understand exactly why I call it that. And if you are new here, welcome to my channel. We're going to have a story time today, and I'm going to talk about the reasons why I learned to never ignore red flags and why I stopped giving the benefit of the doubt. So about 7 years ago, I met a man, and anybody who knows about narcissists, you know that beginning stage with the love bombing. They seem nice. They seem genuine. They give you all of this love, care, and concern. I'm going to say that should have been the first red flag right there, because it was just too much in too short of a time frame. But anyway, we kept going, talked a lot. And I'm going to say the second thing, not ignoring information that you receive and it does not sound right, because most narcissists, they are going to tell you some things about themselves and you just have to be listening. And what I know now, you have to be able to connect the dots, because this man, he said a lot of different things. And at the time, they sound really, really good. But as time progressed, I realized they really, really did not make sense. When things don't make sense, question them, and question them multiple times, because you need to see if you are getting the same answer over and over again. So as the relationship proceeded, things started to get more serious. And I'm going to say another sign. It gets serious way too fast. That should have made me slow down. But I'm going to also say another important thing. Be healed and as whole as possible when dating. Because when you work from places of trauma, you could often find yourself locked into trauma bonds. And in my right mind, I probably never would have considered this man, and I probably never would have married him. Anyway, we ended up getting married, but even before the marriage, things were really, really strange. And I would see pieces of his temperament, and then I would just say, okay, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, maybe it's just stress. No, this is who this man was, and he was only showing me pieces of what was still to come. And I never should have let it go as far as it did. Even up to a couple of weeks before the wedding, things had been really bad and strange between us. And I think that was my sign multiple times, because I believe that God will give us signs, and sometimes we will just be ignoring them and doing what we think is best. And then we get ourselves into situations. And then I believe also sometimes he's going to let that situation be so bad, because he's going to say, you know what? I tried to show you, and I need to show you exactly why I was telling you to turn away, run, do not proceed, exit stage left, don't go any further. When you ignore it, I feel like sometimes he's going to let you see full force what you had in store because you did not listen. So things were bad. We still got married. And I feel like once we got married, it was the craziest something that I hope I never see again. Now, if you've ever been in a relationship with a narcissist, especially living in a house with a narcissist, you know that what they show you and what they show the rest of the world is two different people. It's night and day. And you often find yourself looking and wondering, like, who is this person? This man was a master manipulator, and he was a very, very good actor. And I'm going to say another thing. Everybody that's in the church, that don't mean the church is in them. Everybody that knows the word does not mean the word is in them. This man could Bible you from back to front, but when it came to living what he would often try to pretend that he was preaching, it never, ever matched. And sometimes I would find myself just like thinking, like, who is this person and how did I get myself into this situation? And it didn't even take long. That's the other thing I'm going to say. Shortly after we were married, it got so bad between us that looking back now, even when I look at pictures, I can see that my appearance had deteriorated. My health was deteriorating. Everything about me was changing. And the thing that was changing the most was my mental health. It had gotten so bad because a narcissist will make you question everything about yourself, everything that you thought was the truth. You will be questioning that because what they show you and what they tell you, it never matches. I would catch this man up in so many lies. And then when I would confront him, he had a way of switching things around. And by the end of it, sometimes I would be feeling like, do I need to apologize? And that's the thing. It's so crazy. You'll end up saying sorry for things that you never did because they are that good at manipulating. This man, I had never seen manipulation like this before. And I pray I never see it like that again. Now, since I am a Christian woman, and like many Christian women will do, or women of other faiths, we'll go and we'll seek marriage counseling. And I'm going to say that I learned you have to be very, very careful with doing spiritual-based marriage counseling with a narcissist, because a narcissist will use that word to manipulate you to continue to endure their lies, their toxicity, their manipulation, their gaslighting, their lack of accountability, because they say you need to forgive. You know, you need to turn the other cheek. This is marriage. We made a vow. They will use those things against you, not because they really want the marriage to work, but they want you to stay in that situation and deal with what they are having you deal with. I sometimes wondered, like, did he know what he was doing? And then I realized it didn't even matter if he knew or if he didn't know. I knew the truth. And that's another thing, knowing the truth. Because family and friends, they saw him one way, which narcissists do this on purpose. They portray themselves one way, so that if you ever go back and say anything, you gonna look like the crazy person and the liar. But I learned to never worry about how things look when I know the truth. Because people would say, oh, this man, he seems so sweet. He seems so nice. He seems so kind. It's an act. It's all a front. None of it is real. So we're going to fast forward to the thing that just gave me strength to get myself up and out of that marriage. And it was at one of the lowest times in my life, actually. And I lost my brother during COVID. I did not lose him to COVID. Now, I'm going to just say, imagine being married to a narcissist. They are completely draining every piece of energy, every piece of life. They draining it and sucking it out of you. And then somebody closest to you passes away. And if you've been married before, or you've been in a committed relationship, you know that that's the time where you need your spouse the most. I remember when my brother first passed, and the day after I came back from the hospital after we got the news, I'm in my room and I'm so broken. I just laid in my bed and I cried. And y'all want to know what this man was doing? Because he did have enough sense to know that he needed to look like he was being there for me, but it was just a front. It just needed to look that way. The man was sitting at the edge of the bed on the floor watching a comedy and laughing. And girlies, I kid you not, that was the moment that I told myself, Mariama, when you get your strength back, because my brother's death, that sucked and knocked the life out of me, took all my strength. It just broke me so bad. And I told myself, when you get your strength back, this man gotta go, because he moved into my house, which is another thing, girlies. Don't move no man in your house. But that's going to be a whole nother story and a whole nother conversation for another day. Anyhow, we still doing the marriage counseling, but I'm knowing by this time it's not working because he wasn't in the counseling to work things out. And the straw that broke the camel's back, that just made me say, you know what, I'm not even going back to the counseling. We were in the marriage counseling one day, And this man started telling his lies like he normally did. And then he brought up my deceased brother. Y'all, I ain't never cussed somebody out so bad in a faith, religious-based marriage counseling. I ain't never did that. And I just let it all loose. And something told me, like, Mariama, you need to get yourself out of this marriage, out of this relationship, out of this house with this man, because it ain't going to be good for one of y'all. I knew then that that was going to be the end of it. And then I started working on my exit plan in silence. And girlies, we going to stop it right there. But if I have to tell you anything, if you are in a narcissistic, abusive relationship right now, because it is very much abuse, work on your exit plan in silence. Do not give them leverage. Don't give them information. Do not give them anything, okay? And in a few days, we're going to meet back at the same place for part 2 of my exit strategy and my goodbye to my narcissist.